What is organisational resilience?
So organisational resilience is the dynamic capability of an organisation as a collective whole to successfully deal with and learn from existential threats, stresses or crises. So that might be, for example, due to the pandemic, or it might be about technological disruption, or it might be dealing with things like climate change that create disruptive forces.
How is it different from personal resilience?
It's different because organisational resilience is about the system as a whole. It potentially includes resilient people, but resilient people alone are not going to deal with a real existential threat, something like the disruption caused by the pandemic. So you can look at it in terms of resilient people, which is something that is developable and not just something that is you have or you don't have. In resilient teams, which is not just about the people within the team, but the team processes and things. And then you've got resilient organisation, and like I said, that's about the system as a whole, about technologies, about structures, about processes, about culture, all sorts of things contribute.
And why would you say organisational resilience is important?
We just need to look right now at the level of volatility that there is for all sorts of businesses. We've just had the pandemic. As we speak, there's the fuel crisis. There's a crisis around the availability of people in things like logistics and supply chain as a whole. All sorts of challenges that businesses are having to deal with, and that volatility is only set to continue over time.
So how would you go about building it?
Okay, so we have to think about three things and three capabilities. The first is about anticipation. So the ability to actually look ahead and then to prepare for potentially unknown challenges. That's about building capability and to look ahead. Having capacity is important. Not being overwhelmed, not having your people being overwhelmed and overworked. You have to have a clear purpose, vision, mission, so that people understand if there's a risk to your business, why it's a risk. And I think you then need strong communication and collaboration so that people can actually then prepare for potential eventualities. Then there's coping. Okay, so coping is really about being able to mobilize people effectively, and it's about having strong networks, having organizational structures that give people the autonomy and the flexibility to be able to do things, and about leadership having the humility to understand that they don't have all the answers to the problems, and actually they'll empower other people to find the solutions. Then there's adapting, and adapting is about being able to pause and reflect and to actually value the learning that comes from difficult times. We often move on too quickly, and there's a bias for action in putting solutions into place. And then you need effective change management, for new ways of working. You need to be able to motivate people, to remove barriers to change, and to develop the new capabilities that are required for people to thrive in a new environment.
What would you say are the biggest challenges for people and HR leaders?
I think the first one for me is about anticipation, and we know that well-being is a major issue just now, and a lot of that is about people being stressed and overworked. Resources being stretched to their limit in organisations, and that hampers this ability to anticipate. So you maybe need some extra capacity in the business. People need to be able to think. People need to be able to spot things. They need to be open. They need to be able to do things like networking, and that's quite challenging because a lot of businesses have been built on the model of minimising cost over the last decades. So HR and people leaders may have to make a difficult case for actually building extra capacity in the business. I think the second one is about new modes and styles of leadership. Now, when I say new, they're not really that new, but it's really time that things like servant leadership and models that place an emphasis on a different set of values and skills, particularly empowering, involving other people, come to the fore. And then I think the third one is really there's a need to flatten the hierarchy, to build organisational structures and design organisations where autonomy is inbuilt and there's the flexibility and agility to get things done, to find new and innovative solutions to meet the big challenges that a more volatile work environment creates.